think so. We're gonna be spamming E, and then something's gonna jump scare. There it is, and it still fucking got me. Fuck you. There's Chip. He's dazed. I think he was sleeping behind us. Use him for views. No! No! Chip! Okay, we're good. We're good. There we go. He's stunned. Fuck! That's a person. That's a person. Oh, you don't have a PC? That's such a shame. Fuck am I? Oh, Bandit.
I threw that left hand as well.
That was a good shot. Oh, I can't even reach it. To prove that she did chuck something at me. Oh my god, this is really red on stream.
Ow, you can't hit me, I'm sick.
Oh my god.
Why would you throw things at me?
It was a pass. I passed it to you. We all saw it. Don't do that.
Okay, I can't reach that, so I'd have to. How did I used to? Maybe I could reach it. I could. Look at that. We've reached Hotel Zanzibar, which means we have skipped half of the level.
Sergeant, I need you on that bird. My pelicans are gonna start air.
He steals my coins. Hey, oh, fuck me. Shit. Fuck. I think I can go back. I hope I can go. Hey, stop that. Stop that, you fucking smelly shit. Stop. You chunky fucker. Why have you got poops going around the place? Fuck you. Hey, fuck you. Ridiculous. I think if I die, I'm gonna have to... Hey, stop. I'd have to... Oh, no! Oh, there's a safe. Oh, God, there's a fucking safe thing. Holy fuck me. No! Oh, no! No. Fuck. Okay, so if I sacrifice Chloe, everyone survives. The only people that are affected by that, if I sacrifice Chloe, would be Max, and Joyce and David. So, no. Third. I think there is ammo up here. There it is. So if I can get ammo now, it's less that I have to pay for it.
A good day's work and everyone survived.
Kinda sounds like sex. Maybe. I don't know. Oh my god. Hey, stop that. Stop that. You little shit. Get it? He's a little shit. Oh, hey, yes. You will die. Death. Stop moving. Shit. I feel like I should say this.
I've been dreaming of the day when you would finally tell me. I love you, Mr. Jefferson.
Call me Mark. We need to play catch up on all the time we've wasted. Especially since there's nobody left in your life. I love you too, Max.
God.
What? Oh, no, here we go. What do you mean, Oh, yeah. No, so, yeah. I didn't know about mod view, and Jantha was telling me that's how you...
Oh! 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 Oh, okay. It's just gonna be like that. Hey! Hey! Yes! 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 Fucking thing! Gotcha! There's a fucking piano in there. Shut up. God. Alrighty. Alright, so it's pretty easy. I think E is bomb. Yeah, E's bomb. Alright, let's go. Hey, wait a second. Oh. No. No. Ah. What's Q? Bad trip. Hey.
We got this. We've got it. Don't even ask. Don't even worry about it. We have this in the bag.
Oh man, I'm just running from side to side. Hey, I think you're doing the most damage to this right now.
I am just happy to be here. Oh, dead.
Oh!
God. Marty,
No, I'm dead. I'm dead. No! No!
Marty, it didn't have any health left.
Sure, it didn't have any health left.
Up. Uppies? Uppies? Sideways. Uppies. Now we go uppies. A lot of climbing. Okay.
Moobot and Nightbot as well, so... Fuck. One more.
Hello, everybody. How we doing tonight? today, wherever you are. Hello. Welcome in.
Yeah. Look.
What am I doing? Pressing that button. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Who have we got? Hello, Blondie. Hello. What a nerd. Thank you very much. Hey, Scott's welcome in. Rolky. Hello. What is this hat? Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to go something a bit different. Sada / Cherry. Hello. Welcome in. Hello, Daniel. Hello. Hello, hello. And FP. Hey, Jantha. Welcome in. You don't like it. It feels wrong. Well, go and get me another hat then, Zuna. If you don't like this one, you can go get another one. I got a whole thing there. Hey, Agent, welcome in. What's up? Hope all is well. Stopping in before sleep. It's almost 2 a.m. here. Oh, well, welcome in. And yeah, hope you're doing well as well. That's a little bit late. Go get some sleep. Go get some sleep. But welcome in. It's a Grim shirt. It is a Grim shirt. Yeah, and Chip's walking around. We got rid of the couch, so he's I think he's a bit lost. But yeah, got to support the homies. This is a Grimbo shirt, and it's nice. Fits real snug. Real snug. Why does it look like the hat doesn't fit? It definitely fits. It definitely fits, Janther, I swear. If I can fix a UI problem, I might have a working test build of my project tonight. Ooh, Scots. That's exciting. How working test? How working test? As in send it out to some people to play, maybe? Mm-hmm. Just the first level, of course. Of course, just the first level. I just got my Grim hoodie today too. Oh, see, I got this last week. I got it last week, but I didn't. I wanted to stream over the weekend, but I just had no energy. But yeah, no, it's really nice. Really nice. I was looking at what Grim had, and I feel like a hoodie wouldn't do too well up here in the Queensland because it's fucking hot. And this past week has been pretty fucking humid. But yeah, you would need a hoodie down there because it gets nice and cold. Just the first level. Yeah, maybe sling it to you and Rolky to see if you can break it. Oh my god. Yeah, for sure. I will try my best to break it. Try my best. I'm just staring at the hat now and it does look silly. Fuck. Okay, hold on. Jesus. Zuna's. I don't want to run you over. No, hang on. Be back. I've been shamed. I've been shamed and I'm wearing a black hat now, huh? Do you feel better now, Zuna? Huh? Bring back Cat, please. Oh, he's behind me on the floor. He's kind of snoozing or on his back. Yeah, he's just looking at me. The last one fit. Oh. Now I've been twisting myself in knots, trying to figure out different ways in which people can break stuff, finding endless problems, but I've been able to fix most of them. It's always the way. And then there'll be something that someone does and you won't have expected it. So no, stop yelling at me, Chip. I'm playing Azul. Isn't that a board game? Isn't Azul a board game? Are you playing a board game by yourself? Without Not once did you invite me. What are you doing? Didn't bring back cat. No, because he's hitting things. Hang on. He hasn't touched his dinner, so he's Hmm? There we go. There we go. There you go. Chip. Look at the camera. You're looking everywhere but the camera, my guy. You okay? What are you looking at? Are you okay? Hey. No. Okay. Stop. You're on my arm. Fuck off. Should knew that was going to come. Should have known. Noon and known. Ow. You're literally taking a chunk out of my arm. Stop. He doesn't like the food that I put out for him for dinner. At all. At all. Sure is the board game with other people online because you hate me. No. No, she's not playing Tabletop Simulator. Not on Steam, at least. Maybe one of the... Can you... Why are you licking my hand? You're so weird. Starburst, even. Okay. I should make my dinner. This is a good suggestion. Yes, make your dinner. An aura of fluff. Crossing the paws, so demure. Yeah, you definitely deserve that. No, I was just kissing. He wanted love. Actually, no, he wants food. He wants food that he wants to eat. But he just doesn't want the wet food I put out for him. And that makes him a little bit angry. I'm following your suggestion, by the way. I watched Alien last night and we'll watch the second one soon. Ooh. Jantha, what did you think of Alien? There is a right and wrong answer, by the way. But yes, Aliens is great. Both of them are great. I prefer Aliens over Alien, though. Board Game Arena Online. Sorry, missed that message. Board Game Arena Online. Interesting. Stick your fingers in it. Get him to lick it off you. FP, that sounds... If I didn't know you were talking about the cat food, I wouldn't have an idea of what you were talking about, FP. But no, he's eating it now. He's being a little picky, grumpy boy. Enjoyed it. A few jump scare moments, but wasn't as horror as my brain had always assumed. And I think that's because it's one of those things where a lot of newer media, whether it's games or movies, have taken inspiration and copied a lot of things. So back then it was fucking scary. I remember watching it younger and it was horrifying. But some of those older movies don't really hold up with the scares. They're still amazing feats, but they're not as scary. For example, The Thing. Horrifying. The first time you watched it, 10, 20 years ago. More closer to 20, I'd say. And now it's kind of like good. It's real good, but not scary. But no, you'll like Aliens, and then the rest kind of fall off. Still watch them, but yeah, yep. But maybe because I know of the stuff from it, so it wasn't good. Yeah. Food tastes better off human flesh. Okay, FP. Okay, FP. God, why do I look like I am... I don't know why my light just decides to shine on one side of my face. It's not even facing me. All right, let's... This is real red. Not doing that. Okay. How bright can it go? Oh my god. All right. All right, let's stop that. Let's stop that, shall we? Ridiculous. Ridiculous behavior. The whites are still fucking popping. Okay, there we go. I need to rewatch Alien 3. I haven't seen it since it came out. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Alien 3 as well. Been a long time. Yeah, I would say Alien, Alien 3, and then Alien Resurrection is at the bottom, like as far below as it's gone. I think at this point I'll just keep watching things if I need something on second screen. Yeah, perfect. But at least I figured I should have some more context before I try the game. Oh, that's right. You're playing Alien Isolation. How exciting at some point. I'm very excited for you to play that, by the way. Have you seen Alien Romulus, Marty? The one from... Yes, I have. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Keen for more. Keen for more. The only thing is the next one isn't done by the same director. So I'm curious. But more aliens, more alien stuff. I don't care. Whatever. Give me more. Hey, Cardi, how we doing? How we doing? Gubby, hello? Oh, hey, it's my house. It sure is, Gub. After I finished, people of note will be Alien Isolation. Oh, very exciting. Very exciting. But yes, I hope everyone's well today. Hope everyone's well. I'm trying to do at least one stream in a week. And at the moment, it's kind of a bit all over the place. I know last week was Tuesday. Previous week was like 2 streams or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to do at least one. Just one. Minimum. So far, it's going okay. But yeah, so at the moment it's kind of a bit all over the place, which is fun. Which is fun. But yeah, which means I kind of need to figure out what I'm going to kind of play, because I just don't want to like sit here and then also kind of think out. So I think today, and this is kind of sparked on what we kind of watched over the weekend, if you were there for the SAS movie night. We are not playing Conquistador Rex FP. No way. Nope. We are going to be playing some Silent Hill 2 today. I have never played it before. Never. Never ever. And it's been in my Steam library. The remake has been in my Steam library for months. Return to Silent Hill mentioned. Nope. I don't think I said that at all, Scots. Don't think those words at all came out of my mouth. But yeah, so we watched that over the weekend on the SAS movie night, and it was absolutely horrendous. Absolutely disgusting. So I thought might be good just to actually play the game. I have seen the older films, the ones that came out in like 2006, 7, 12, something. And those were, compared to the latest film, pretty fucking good. But I know that there's flaws with those movies compared to the game. 6, 7. Shit, did I say 6, 7? Damn it. Hello, Splundles. How you doing? Welcome in. But yeah, so we're going to do some Silent Hill and kind of try and have a chill Wednesday night. Yeah. No. No, Griffin, come back, please. Please, Griffin. But yeah, I think before we get into it, I think we need to loosen up a little. Do we need to loosen up? Did someone say marbles? I got the marbletism, I think. When I think it's going to be my thing at the moment to... Zuna, come on, grow up. Marbles just is fun, okay? Don't come in. Marbles stop me from going on sports bet. All right. Look, we'll jump in, and then you guys can get your sports betting on. Okay. All right. What am I trying to do here? Get out of here with your community skins. All right. Marbles literally supporting my mental health right now. This is the one place I haven't gone broke from marbles. Well, Griffin, today is the day. All right, let's change that. Marbles on stream. And we go, but of course, thank you, camera. Stupid. I just don't take part in the gamba part of marbles. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, I don't know what it is, Rolkus. It's, it only does it sometimes. It's weird. It is weird. Okay, let's do a little Grand Prix, and we'll go random. You know what? Let's do 5. I think 5's a good number. 5 is a good number. We'll just jump straight into it. All right. Exclamation mark play to get on in. Oh, your Quickens here. We've got Cardi, Scots, Criff, Jantha, Splungles. Oh, we got a Gub. I think Zuna doesn't want to get in because she's playing game. Okay. Gamba. Close comp today. Very close, Griffin. Okie dokie. All right. Okay. Zuna is busy. That's fine. Let me... okay. Let's go. Doesn't feel fine. No, Zuna. It is fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Let's go. Okay. I'm just going from who's even Stevens. And we've got, let's go Splungles and Gub. We'll go 2 minutes. Win who? Start prediction. Got it. Okay. Oh, hey, Adra, how you doing? Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. We're doing some marbles today. Before we get into some super chill Silent Hill 2 for the first time ever. So, don't know how that's going to go, but to loosen up a little, we're doing some marbs. So get your bets in. We've got Splungles, Splurges versus Gabby Carbon. No one's got any fancy balls today. Very exciting. Better just go all in to be sure. Griffin, finer words have never been said. My last name is not that fancy. Haha. Gabby Carbon. Maybe. Who's to say? Gub? Holy shit. I just saw. We've got... Oh, I was going to say we just had 2.5K on Gub. Nope, 9.5K on Gub and 16K on Splungles. Criff just dumped on me. Hold on. Dump the points, I hope. Oh, wow. This is, there's a lot on the line. What's that? 25K in the pot. 2 splurges, 1 cup. That's hot. Okay, what map's this? Now you go down these little test tubes, go up. Okay, cool. Cool. All right, predictions are closed. Very cool. All right, we will start. Splungles versus Carbon. We're going. Oh my God. Splurge just getting a fast track down the right side. Gub is stuck up top. There we go. We're following Splungles. Oh. Splungles is caught in the back here. Dan, you just missed out, bud. You just missed out. Oh, very close. Very close. Splungles is making the way down. Gub is pretty close behind. Oh. They're almost in huggable range. Huggable? Huggin' range. Oh. And Splungles is through. What do we got here? Oh. Where's Gub? Oh, Gub is in the same roll and ball. Splungles is through. Gub is still stuck. Gub is out. But Splurge is rimming the hole. He's rimming. He's still rimming. He's through. Splurge is getting slapped around. No. Gub is through. She's we got Gub just got slapped through. Splurge got stuck a little bit. Congratulations, Gub. Congratulations, Gub. Gub won. Splurge is stuck in in the spin and slap thing. Griffin's actually stuck. There we go. Criff's through. And Rolkus as well. Rolkus, I think last time we did this, you were last too, weren't you? Look at that. Perfect. Look at that. FP, congratulations. You won. Second place, Adra. Then we got Scots. Gub 5th. Splungles is 7th. Look at that. All right. Choose outcome. Gub. Complete prediction. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right. We'll go on to the next one. Come on. Griffin, lol, I'm broke again. So Griffin, everyone, exclamation mark, play to get on in. Griffin, what was that about? This is the only place you weren't broke. 1Q. Dan, you've made this one. Look at that. You're in. Fancy name with a fancy new ball. This is new. I don't think you had this one last time we did this, did you? This is real new. Real new. Went from 7K to 18K. Whoa, Zuna. The real loser was Dan for not making it in time to play. 100%. I agree with you. Dan, like, showing off his balls. Last time you looked at each other's balls. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 What do we do? We did Splurge last time. We did Carbon last time. You know what? Let's do... You know what? Let's do the two that came in last. We'll do Rolkus versus Griffin. Roki? Griff. In. Start prediction. All right. Rolky and Griffin, they're basically next to each other here. Basically next to each other. Bet Rolkus because I clearly lose around here too. Oh, why is my mouse? There we go. All loose. All right. We got 1.7K on Rolky, and we got 2.7 on Griffin. Oh, someone believes in you, Griffin. $2.2 now on Rolky. What a... Oh, this is like a little rainbow. Little rainbow map. That's a penis. Okay. There's a fast track too. Never bet on Rolk. My marble is a lemming. Well, Rolkus, both your ball and Griffin ball look the exact same. They're basically twins. Splurge, be right back. Rocky, don't lose this or I'm ruined. That's an alien bean. Default balls. Yeah. Yeah, they are default balls. But they're twins. These balls be twinning. Yeah? Dan's the outlier here. Default balls is the title of my sex tape. Oh, fuck. All right. Prediction is done. Okay. What do we got here? We've got Griffin at 2.8 as the highest. Okie dokie. Let's go. What happened? Hey, Safety Sam, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Rolkus and Griff on the... Oh, Griffin got stopped there by a little... Okay, thank you. Yep. I forgot to put a cooldown. I'll do that after. That's all right. All right, Rolkus is at the bottom. Griffin is now at the bottom. Okay. Rolky making his way down. Which path? Oh, the middle on this side. Griffin has passed Rolkus. They're basically neck and neck here. Pretty much neck and neck. Rolkus. They are 100% neck and neck here. Tip to tip. Ball to ball. If their balls were any in sync, they would be touching. Oh. Griffin's out. Rolkus is... Am I blind? Rolkus died. Rolkus, you died. So Griffin just needs to survive. Griffin is the... Oh, okay. Yep. Griffin, perfect. There we go. Oh, just have to make this and not go through the hole. What did happen with the music? What? Oh no, there is music. It's just the soundtrack to Iron Lung. And that's why it feels really eerie, because it's the soundtrack. We will change that. Less eerie now. Okay, we've got to do a redo because both Griffin and Rolkus died. However, Dan, congratulations with your pink ball. Okay. I can't, there's no way to restart, is there? No. Okay, we'll just do a new map. You fucking know it, boyo. Thanks, Dan. All right, Griffin and Rolky, make sure you get in on this one. Exclamation mark play. Only, yeah, the two of you, of course. Of course, the two that were racing died. Of course. And you guys, look at that. You've started basically at the same level again. We'll get in this one as well. We'll give it a couple more seconds for people to join on in. All right, I think this might be it. This might be it. Okay. Griffin versus Rolkus, round 2. All right. Hey, nice shirt, blood. Yeah, it's a little Grimbo shirt. Little Grimbo shirt. All right. They're pretty much. Oh, Griffin is in the lead. Might change here. Nope, Griffin has reached the bottom. Nope, I don't want to follow you. There we go, Griffin. Oh, almost neck and neck again. Almost. They're choosing opposite sides. They're basically flirting at this point. Rolkus is chasing after Griffin like a mad. Oh, Rolkus is got some speed, actually. Oh, Rolkus done fucked himself. Griffin. Oh, Griffin also got Griffin also got fucked. Rolkus is back in the lead. Rolkus has some speed happening. What is happening here? What is happening? Maybe it's just the map? Oh, maybe it's one of these little boost things. Oh, Griffin's on the other side. Why does it look like Griffin's not moving? Are you stuck? Oh no, Griffin. Rolkus could actually have this. Griffin is getting stuck on everything. I say that, and now Rolkus is stuck on everything. Oh, Rolkus is out. Griffin is halfway through the thing. That's a little obstacle course. But Rolkus is gaining some speed through these little tubes. What's this? What is this? Oh. No, that's easy. Easy. So Rolkus is through. Griffin is slowly coming down. Rolkus is in the final stretch now. Oh, Rolkus got bumped backwards twice. Griffin is slowly catching up. Rolkus keeps on hitting things. That's pushing him back. Griffin is also in the same situation. You just keep on hitting things to push you back. Griffin is slowly... Oh, now he's pushed back. Rolkus is on his way. Nothing can stop him. Rolkus... Rolkus died. Rolkus died. Griffin won. Congratulations, Griffin. Gub. Gub? Gub. Come on. Come on. Come on, Gub. Rolkus, what happened there? What happened? You hit the middle thing and bounced out and died. Congratulations to those that voted Griffin and Griffin's Ball. Unlucky for those who voted for Rolkus and Rolkus's Ball. It's this bit here. It must have been on the perfect kind of spot right on the top here and bounced off. That is rough. Absolutely rough. All right. Oh, that was close though. You should have had that one, honestly. But all right, get in exclamation mark play. That one was season 19. Grim, hello, Grim. Hello. I didn't even see you pop in. Grim. I got your shirt. It's nice. It fits nice. It feels nice. It feels like I'm inside you, Grim. That's what it feels like. Nice and warm. Cozy. Oh, no, it's good. That's a good thing, Grim. All right. Okay, who we got? We got any? Oh, we've only got one fancy ball. Rolkus, you're starting in the wall, by the way. You're starting in the wall, Rolkus. Okie dokie. Let's go. Let's go the two J's. We'll go Janther. We will go Janther. And we'll go Jetta. All right. Get your gambers in. Get your gambers. Janther and Jet. J and J. Don't vote for me. I think my ball has lost every time it's picked in these Gamba. The white smell. Okay. Zuna's making brownie. You're making brownie, aren't you? Yeah, that was a smile. She is. We have 4K on Jetta, 5K on Janther. All in. 20 on Jetta. Oh. Yeah, microwave brownie, right? Brownie bowl? Yeah, but it showed. Is that with ice cream? I'm not sure if you can see the brownie. Hang on. Not sure if we can see. Okay. Brownie bowl. There's no poop in the microwave, Rolkus. None of that. We got, she's doing brownie, ice cream, M&Ms? Smarties. Not a Smarties, M&Ms. Oh, I thought you were going to feed me it. I thought you were doing it. You're going to be like a plane. But, oh no, you're just going to eat it in front of me. Get out of here. Go on. Get out of here. Not now. No, I'm doing marbles. Sorry. Okay. Gub said, see you in 10. Oh. That was real brownie. No. Okay. What was that? Yum. It's a brownie bowl with ice cream and M&Ms. And marshmallows. Jesus. Making dessert for dinner. Okay. And no wonder is too busy for marbling. Yeah, she's busy. Also, Scott's and I are headed up your way in June. Ooh, exciting. Is that when Brofa and Broford comes over. You're not meant to breathe, Brownie. Oh, it's too late. It's already done. Okay. All right. We're losing track here. We're losing track. We had 5K on Janther, 5.2K, and we have 4K on Jetta. Okay. Oh, did we just lose a ball? That's okay. Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Play. There's a countdown. I should have remembered there's a countdown. Okay. We're good. We're good. Now we go. All right. Rolkus still... Oh, he's out of the wall? He's out of the wall? Oh, this is... What the... Am I meant to see who comes out? Okay. Janther is in the lead, but there haven't been any obstacles so far. We're just going straight down. Jetta catching up. There's some speed. Oh, some little bumps. Oh, there's the waves. Okay. Oh! Jetta is in the lead. Jetta is in the lead. This one, a bit weird. A lot of invisible walls. I don't know. Okay, no, Janther. There's a lot of stuff that's happening inside these walls that I have no idea. Okay, they're close. All right. Jetta is down, is up. What? What's happening here? Oh, it's like a... Janther is struggling. Janther, what are you doing? Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay. Jetta, you might actually have this, but as we've seen in the previous one... Oh my god. Oh my god. Am I stuck? Oh no, the camera's stuck. Hang on. There we go. We'll follow Gub and... There we go. Jesus. Not sure how I feel about this one. Oh my god, just let me... Can I control you? Not control, but just the camera? No. Okay, whatever. Janther, you're last. You're slowly catching up though. Actually, there's no catching up. There's no catching up. I'm sorry. Jetta has passed the finish line, and Janther is slowly dropping down. Oh. Yeah, this map was pretty shit, actually. That wasn't a good map. Not at all. Not at all. But congratulations, Griffin. You won. Rolkus, you died. I didn't actually see that. I didn't actually see that at all. And Jetta. Congratulations to those who voted for Jetta. I just want to make sure I'm clicking the right thing. Yep, there we go. Okay. There we go. And I believe we are on to the last one. So we'll do one more race and then we'll jump over to El Silent El Hills. DOS. All right. Get your exclamation mark play in. Play with my balls. Scots. Okay. Who we got so far? We got Jetta, we got Gub, we got Janther, we got Grim, Priff, Scots, and myself. Oh, we got Rolky. Nice. Let's do... Oh, everyone on this side's already kind of gone. Let's do... Chips carrying around a spring. You know what? Let's do Grim and Scots. We'll do Grim and Scots. All right. get your predictions in. Oh, Grim, you got a little fancy ball. I didn't even look at it last time. Is that meant to be fleshy or like Stranger Things kind of vibe? It's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Fitting for the map by the looks of it, actually. It's like a hellish theme. Anyway, get your votes in. My little meatball. Yeah, a little meatball. Grim versus Scots. Oh. We got 6.8k on Grim and we have 8k on Scots. Actually, we have 8008 on Scots. That spells out boob. Nice. Very nice. And we have 6882 on Grim. Not boob, but still nice. Each betting on each other. Sometimes you have to, FP. You don't believe in yourself, and you got to vote for the other person. I know that's a lot of the times I'm in these, I vote for the other person because I don't think my ball's going to make it. Don't think it at all. All right, I think we're down to 30-ish seconds, so if you haven't already voted, get your vote in, and you might win some neat little channel points. Chip's just spazzing out in his little box. He's got a bunch of toys and stuff in it, and he's just having the time of his life. The time of his life. I prefer to look at it as trying to lift others up instead of tearing them down. That's nice, Scots. That's beautiful, actually. Beautiful. All right, predictions are closed. And away we go. Now. Done. Look at that. Grim and Scots. Grim's in the lead. What the hell? Jesus. Stop. I can't see. Scots is in the lead. Holy shit. Grim, you're dead. Grim, you're dead. Scots, you just need to survive. You just need to survive, Scots. And it might be hard to do that on this map. Oh. Scots, you're actually number one. You're first, Scots. I don't know. Actually, no. Scott's going backwards. Scots is going backwards. I'm not too sure what is happening back there. Everyone's having a blast of a time by the looks of it. Scots, you're not moving at all. There we go. You want to go forward, Scots? Yep. Perfect. Okay. I don't know what's happening here. This is nuts. Scots, you're going backwards. Scots, you are staying still. I don't know what's happening back here. Everyone... Okay, hang on. Hang on, let's have a look. Just a quick look. What? Gub's going backwards. Janther, you're... Janther, I don't know what's happening with yours. Scots isn't moving anymore. This map might be the worst map. Potentially the worst map. This one might be worse than the one that we did before, actually. Scots is going backwards. Scots is still going backwards. I've got problems, all right? No need to point it out. No, Janther. It's not you, it's your ball. What is happening? Scots is just ahead. No one else is catching up, I don't think. Scots going backwards. Okay, this map sucks. has someone done this within someone's finished this 2 minutes ago. Apparently. Rolkus might actually catch up with Scott's. Maybe. I don't know what's happening. I have no idea what's happening. Scott's is... Oh, not moving. He's stuck. He's going back. He's going forwards. He's going forwards. Scott's has 1. If this isn't the worst map, I don't know what is. Like, what? This isn't marbles. This is just... It's... I mean, this one is just luck, right? It's less on obstacles and that, and it's just more on... Oh, Gub, you have died. Janther, you are no longer last, by the way. Rolkus, you have been pushed back to last. Congratulations. Sada and Janther, you actually might beat Sada here. Oh. Never mind. Sada came second. Janther came third. Everyone died by the fire. That was not a good map. Not a good map at all. But no, Scott's won. Congratulations, everyone that voted on Scott's. Rip Grim, and to everyone that voted for Grim. All right, let's do that. Wow. All right, let's finish this. Let's finish. Okay. In third place, we have Janther. Don't vote for my ball, it always loses. You've come third in the whole thing. Get boogered, Grim. FP, you came second. And Scottsy came first. Congratulations. Look at that. Look at that. Dan came fourth, but only raced in 2. FP raced in all of them and came second. Scott's missed out on 1. That's fine. Janther got them all as well. Yeah, wow. I came last. I tied last. But yeah, wow. How exciting. How exciting. All right. All right. Very cool. Very cool. How exciting. I guess everyone will be a little bit more poor at the moment. I always come for I said I lose when I'm the one in Gamba. Oh, that's right, you did too. Yes. Oh, we should put you in Gamba a little bit more then, Janther. Because you wouldn't be losing then. You came third. Yes. Poor. No, I'm lower than that. No, Griffin. No. No. Oh, man. Cool. Well, I'm a little bit looser. I think we should... He's a little knucklehead. So we're going to play some Silent Hill 2. First time playing it. I might actually lag a little because I haven't opened it up before. And it might shit itself. Can we do that? All right. Let's do that. Perfect. I think it's still loading. Is it still loading? It's doing something. It is. Here we go. It's compiling shaders now, so it might get a little laggy. All right. Da, 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 da. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's lagging a little. I can hear my computer really trying its best. Be right back. Checking food. No. Go do that, Jantha. Go do that. We need to sort out dinner at some point. PC's really going now. PC's really going. I should go get a pizza. I was going to get one last night and decided to eat something easy. Ooh. What flavored pizza, Scots? To maximize your gaming experience, consider using headphone. Okay. This game contains content and themes of domestic violence, emotional abuse. Okay. All right. Hang on. Let me just I could copy paste this from somewhere else, but I'm just gonna write out a quick and other mature themes. There we go. Just to do a pin for anyone popping in. Manually unpin. There we go. Groovy. Cool. Easy peasy. Let's just jump straight in. Text language, audio language. Perfect. Hello, Mr. Chip. What's up? You look like you're gonna come and step on my stomach. I think that one looks good on stream. That one looks too dark on stream. I think. Hang on. Let me have a look. Yeah, that one looks way too dark on stream. I think that one. Yeah, cool. Pepperoni pizza and a big cup of tea. Sounds pretty good. Ooh, 2.2. Okay, let's do that. Beautiful. Sure. Audio, what I want. Text, show subtitles. Perfect. Don't want that. I would like... Let's just do default for the moment. Let's do that one. Sure. Groovy. Cool. Let's just continue. Get into it. Is this the remake? It sure is, Rolkus. I've never played any of them, so... Well, sorry, the only Silent Hill game that I have played is Silent Hill Room 30? Room 34? The Room. It was just The Room. Silent Hill The Room. Played that one on Xbox, and I think I have it, but I haven't actually played. I haven't touched any other Silent Hill ever. I wonder if this game features toilets with a square bowl. Ooh, maybe. These ones seem a little squarish up here, I believe. This music's still playing. Stop. Quit it. Ever played? I loved the first one back in the day. Yeah. Ever. Ever. Never. As seen in the hit movie Return to Silent Hill. No, okay, let's never bring that up again. Thank you, Scots. Unfortunately, the S is silent in hit movie. Never got into 2, got into the remake only for UE5 research purposes. Yeah. I just never done it. Never. So, ooh. It's just your default. Cool. Okay. We'll just start. We'll get into it. We'll see how it goes.
Mary. Could you really be in this town?
In my restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday. But you never did. Well, I'm alone there now. In our special place. Waiting for you.
Hey Ken, welcome in. How you doing?
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary. My wife's name. It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true. That's what I keep telling myself. Mary died of that damn disease 3 years ago. So then why am I looking for her? Our special place. What could she mean? This whole town was our special place. Could Mary really be here? Is she really alive? Waiting for me?
Thanks, Raucus. Cool. I did notice that there was a bit of the ghosting happening during that cinematic when he came out and was moving around. So I was just kind of wanting to... It doesn't look too bad. But let's have a look-doodle. I should have looked at this before. I feel like that could probably be on, but I don't want to push it. Don't want to push it while I'm streaming. Is there advanced? There's no advanced. Oh, it's not using... Oh, I thought it might have been using... I think that might be fine. Yeah. Ghosting be gone. Ghosting be gone. But no, welcome in, Ken. How you going? Hope you've been well, Ed. I have been well. Just busy with work, so I wanted to stream earlier this week, but I just didn't get around to it. So here we are. And we watched Return to Silent Hill on the weekend, so that made me realize that I have never played the game, Silent Hill 2. So I'm hoping that this is a bit better. And from what I've heard, it is. Okay, cool. So I have to go down to the graveyard, go across to the ranch, and then I'm in the town. Yeah? Press M to open map. Okay. Very exciting. Can I go back in? Oh, I can. Is there anything for me, though? No. Okay. 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 God, this is dark. There's no... I don't have a flashlight or anything. Cool. Let's... No? Okay. So in the movie, they had it across the river. But it looks like it's to the left. Unless it is there and this is just another street. God, the movie sucked. The movie was absolute shit. Can't do anything with this van. New. Okay. The L dropped and the E dropped. Okay. You can hear the wind in there. That's fucking cool. Alright, let's head on down. Nada. I do have to say, one thing that this engine does fucking phenomenal at is forests and just atmosphere. So for example, this Alan Wake 2, the forest in that and all the environments, like fucking spectacular. I'm so happy that people or developers can whip out these almost, they're very gamey, but gamey, realistic environments. Like this is fucking insane and very similar. And the reason why I was saying this is because it immediately reminded me of Alan Wake 2 as well. You played every Resident Evil game, yeah? No. I have played the remake of 2, the remake of 4, and then I had Resident Evil 5 on Xbox, and I barely played that. And then I played Resident Evil 7, and then basically all the new ones. 7, 8, 9. Not much of the DLC. Not much of the DLC. Some of the DLC for 7. Okay. But no, not every Resident Evil. There are rumors that they're remaking the original to bring them to the chip, buddy. Come on. Just chill. To bring them to the same quality and level. Quality, level, and environment. Chip, buddy. Come on. No. Chill. I can't. You can't. Okay. You can't come over. The Silent Hill games have as much in common as the movies, the same way Resident Evil movies and games are related. Sweet fuck all. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Chip's been doing this thing lately where he'll chill at the front, and then the back ones he's standing. I don't know why. Eh? Why are you like this? Okay, down you go. No, I know that the movies aren't as good. The issue is the Resident Evil movies are somewhat okay popcorn flicks. Ooh. Whereas the Silent Hill movie was absolutely not.
It's like someone's groping around my skull.
Huh? Who says that? Who says groping around my skull? Chip, what are you doing? Why are you like this? Stop. Freak. Okay. But there's that there's the new Resident Evil movie coming out later this year. Ooh. That's meant to be somewhat. Oh wow, if that's what's the name? Obviously from the movie we just watched. But they completely butchered her.
I'm sorry. I was just...
Hey, it's okay. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm kind of lost.
Lost?
Yeah, I'm looking for Silent Hill. Is this the right way?
Yeah. It's hard to see with this fog, but there's only the one road. You can't miss it.
Thanks.
But... I think you should stay away. This town, there's something wrong with it. And it's not just the fog, either.
Is it dangerous?
Maybe. It's kind of hard to explain, but...
I'll be careful.
I'm not lying.
No, I believe you. It's just... I guess I don't really care if it's dangerous or not. I'm going either way.
But why?
I'm looking for... someone. Someone very important to me.
Me too. I'm looking for my mama. I mean, my mother. It's been so long since I've seen her. I thought my father and brother were here, but I can't find them either. I'm sorry, it's not your problem.
No, I hope you find them.
Yeah, you too.
just makes me more mad playing this after the movie, because the movie disrespected this entire fucking game. Just straight off the bat.
Did you,
Like,
did you want anything else?
No, it's just this fog. Does it seem unsettling to you?
I guess.
okay. But yeah, there's the Resident Evil movie coming out later this year, and apparently the director's a big fan of the games. And from what I read, there's not going to be any ties to existing characters or storylines. So it might be good. Might not be. Okay, I can't. Okay. Fuck, that's cool though. I can hear something. Like a droning noise over there. Oh. Okay. All right. We're following this road. The atmosphere in this is fucking amazing, though. Do have to say. So... yeah, okay. There's something back there. I just saw something, I think. Cornfields just remind me of Outlast 2. God, this is... okay. So I assume... I haven't really looked. I know that they've shared some work of behind the scenes on how the fog works in this, and it's been a while since I've seen it. But I assume, by the looks of it, that it's just a circle radius around the player. The fuck? This music is very unnerving. Like, it makes me want to... I feel like I need to run through it. But I feel like something's gonna spook me. Okay. God, this is great. I'm really enjoying this so far. Just the music, atmosphere, sounds. Auto parts. No items. Huh? Oh, here. Unreal does two things. Two great things. Forest and moist. That is true. Went to town to get the window fixed. Spare keys in the drawer. Okay, let's go through the window then.
Hello? Anyone in here?
E to jump. Interesting. Okay. Can I get out this way? I sure can. So I wonder if now I've got the key, if there was some things that I could get to behind me. Okay. Like this? No. Nothing. Okay. Okay. All right. Oh, this is it's through there. So I'm looking straight ahead. That tunnel's not on the map. There's like growling and that droning noise. Yeah, okay. Oh, cornfields on that side. So I'm almost in the town. Almost. Okay. Okay, nothing in those boxes. Okay. So that's blocked me there. Should be over this way. I don't see a latch on this. Does it want me to go in here? Oh no, there it is. The Roadrunner. Interesting. Nothing over there. So here, I've just kind of done a little loop-de-loop. So I just got an achievement. So I'm in the Silent Hill now. So, map of the east side of South Vale. Okay. So if this is, okay, there might still be. Man, that's really disappointing that the movie had so much to go from and instead they just fucked it up. Miss Cassandra, a customer came in today, ordered a mixed bouquet, red and white. I tried to explain it's bad luck, but he couldn't decide on just one. He seemed a bit off, looked at me like I wasn't even there. Then he just left, said he'd be back to pick him up later. I just wanted to let you know, since I might be gone by then. Okay. Right. So, okay, yep. Oh, there's a trail of blood.
What is this?
Oh, it's a trail. You idiot. Have you never watched the movies? Any movie ever? I do like that if I didn't go in there, I would have never kind of seen that trail, though, because I could have just kept on walking this way. I'm in the Silent Hill. Okay.
More of that stuff.
Am I just meant to follow it? So if I turn this way... Lindsay Street. And these houses look great, though. More. Okay, so that's Dodge. Yep. No, don't say hey.
Hey, wait.
No pizza for me. I went out to to chat to my sister before heading down to get a pizza. Went to leave and found that I've been boxed in by my nephew's mate. Popcorn chicken it is. Oof. Can the music stop, please? And thank you. That's rough, Scots. That is rough. At least popcorn chicken isn't too bad. Why did I just get... I just got shivers from that. Can you not? God damn. Yeah, but popcorn chicken is pretty good. It is. It's one thing I want to learn, vertex painting. Yeah, I've dabbled, but not in Unreal. I've dabbled in vertex painting in Source and Source 2, but haven't done it really in...
Hello?
I want to pick something up first. Surely there's something for me to pick up. For buildings, walls, it looks fantastic and natural. 100%. 100%. You can do so much with just any material as well, right? With vertex painting. As long as the support's there. Like, you know, this wood, for instance, being able to paint the brown wood over the green would be cool. But I guess the issue there is the cost of having two materials and painting them, so I guess you'd probably want... Oh, okay, yep, so that. And just that. Okay. God, why is the music like this? course. Okay. But I think it would be fine, like where I say the cost of materials, it would generally be fine as well if you're reusing that material quite a lot. As well. Yeah, I think it gets offset by being instance. So if you have multiple buildings, they all share the same material as a base layer, then you're applying the second. Yeah. Yeah. Sure, we'll save. What is that ringing noise? Supplements. Okay, V to drink a health drink. Okay. Okay. Wait, he's got your tiny fridge. Yeah, that is very, I think this one's actually taller, honestly. Because the one I had came to, it was basically like half the size of a regular fridge. I think if you took off the freezer section of this and just... I don't like that ringing noise. Okay. Oh, that's just going to keep on hanging. Okay. If you took off the freezer of that fridge, I think you would have... Oh. Ooh, spooky. Oh, no, Chip. Chip.
Stay back.
Okay. Hey.
Is this what I saw in the fog?
100%.
Whatever it is, it's not.
100%. That bench is like just below his waist. Either he's stupidly tall or that kitchen is built for someone gub size. Potentially gub sized. Potentially. Both Silent Hill and RE series had such rich content to make movies, but hey, they all sucked. Yeah, I think it comes from just Hollywood and directors not wanting to make a one-to-one adaptation because they think games wouldn't traverse well across medias. And I mean, I get it, but also if I want to play a game, watch a movie of a game, I expect the game to be... Why did that door squeal? I expect the movie of that game to be somewhat faithful. Okay. Oh. Oh, okay. I thought I put it back. That's cool. I think some game storylines would translate very well. I would froth a Star Wars movie based on KOTOR. Yep. Yeah, 100%. And like a lot of things. I'm curious about the God of War. Yeah, I'm curious about the God of War TV show because there's characters from the second one to in this one, and it's meant to follow. What? It's meant to follow the 2018 game, but there's characters from Ragnarok in it, and it's like I'm not entirely sure how that's going to go. So everyone panned that still image. That dude is a decent actor, and while he's not massively muscular, Kratos isn't either. He's just solid. Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, completely agree. I'm not judging it from the screenshot. More so, I guess what story they're going to tell. Because if they're making everything look like the game, and then just do a different storyline, or do the storyline but cut out a lot of content, it's almost like, why bother? Just play the game if you're going to do that. And I don't know. I think I'd prefer to have a God of War TV show that would be like Kratos in his prime rather than the latest, but have them linked to be like, it's an addition to the lore, but if you don't play the game, you still get a fucking amazing Kratos story. And if you play the game but you don't watch the show, it still doesn't affect. But if you watch the show and it's got the same characters, they're doing the same stuff, but it's kind of crossing content between Ragnarok and the first game, it kind of like, I don't know. To me, that's not. It feels weird in that regard. I might be wrong, but I mean, Last of Us did it in season 2. They cut out a whole lot of content. And I went back, and there's about 8 episodes, I think, in season 2. And nearly's bad. Whoa, nearly. There's about 8 hours. 8.5, 9 hours of the TV show. And in the same 8 hours just of cinematics and, maybe even some gameplay, you can hit all the key points that the show missed. And it's just like, when you do that, it's kind of like, what's the point in having this show when you've just changed a lot of the story, or you want your own creative intent, and it's just more damaging than not. If you're reading this, leave. This place is not what it seems. Sometimes you just have to look behind. That's what I get for looking behind. I haven't seen season 2 yet, but yeah, I know what you mean. Because even in season 1, right? Not that you needed all of it, but in my opinion, there was one episode that stood out and was the best one. And it was, and weirdly enough, it was the content, the episode had a storyline that wasn't in the game. And then all the storylines from the game that were in the show were done terribly. The gay, yes, Bill, yep, that one. That was the best episode of that whole season. The zombies weren't even in it, or infected weren't even in it. You saw the big bloater dude rip a guy in half, and it's like, yeah, cool, that's sick. And then they can just continue doing through the season without infected. And it's like, what's the point if the main thing in The Last of Us, especially the games, is the infected? They're a part of the story, they're part of the gameplay. For 75, 80, 85% of the game. And in the show, they're in it for like 2 seconds, And then season 2 tried to rectify it a little bit, but they ruined it in other ways. And it's just, they've Yeah. And then they've come out and said season 3 won't come out for another, like, 2 years. And by then, I don't think anyone will care. But hey, apparently they're working on The Last of Us 3. Apparently. Can these noises stop, please? They're very unnerving. I see you slithering around the corner there. That's music. Yeah, but I don't want this music. It's unnerving. It's unnerving music. For a town called Silent Hill, it's not very silent at all. Who's up right now with their speakers full blasting, huh? Industrial music. Oh, it's there. Up, 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 up. Stop. No, no. I have to say, I really enjoyed Pedro's job, but I thought the casting of Ellie was shithouse. 100. Yeah. Definitely. I love the town design. Yep. It's real fucking cool. Real cool. Bella Ramsey is a good actor, but not as Ellie. No. No, no. So I watched, I saw Game of Thrones really late. Stay down. Stay down. Okay. We're good? We good? Okay. Fuck, this is cool though. This is really cool. So I watched Game of Thrones later. I only watched it really for the first time completely last year. And I knew Bella Ramsey was in that. And she's a kid. She's okay as a kid. As a kid actor in it. I think it was fine. But it's crazy that that kind of blew that career up, right? And I don't know, it's crazy to me that that kind of landed her the role, I guess, of Ellie, or that was the best one. To me, I think who should have been Ellie is the main character from... Oh. I'm gonna go in here. Hey Sith Devil, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Welcome in. What was I saying? It should have been the main actress that was in Romulus. I think they chose Bella as Flavor of the Month. 100, yeah. 100%. But the actress that played I don't even know the main character in Alien Romulus, she's basically 1-to-1 of what Ellie is in season 2, or what Ellie should be in season 2. Not sure about season 1, how that actress looked then, but she played the part. She would have played the part in season 2. Bella Ramsey is a bit of an odd choice. Should have been Caitlin Dever, who plays Abby as Ellie. That too. I also kind of like her as Abby, but then I think the actress that played Abby should have been a bit more buff, like she is in the game. Makes sense because she's been trained a lot, right? So she's been trained by her dad. She was been trained by the military, and then in the show, I assume it's the case, but she doesn't really look it. So, hey Lily, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Marty, can you tell Zuna she influenced me and now I'm setting up a Switch 2 to play Poker Pier? I will let her know. She's currently in bed chilling, watching stuff, but I will let her know that you got a Switch 2 and got Poker Pier because she influenced you. I won't tell her too much because then she'll go mad with power thinking that she can influence everyone and anyone. But no, have fun though. Have fun. Poker Pier, from what I've seen, is really good. Really good, especially if you like those farmy, cozy games as well. Oh yeah, Caitlin Dever would have been perfect for as Ellie. Yeah, all she would need to do is get super lean for season 2. Ellie should be perfect. Yep, 100%. Okay, in March of 1965, the town of Silent Hill was visited by the main Physical Research Association. After thorough examination, a team of experts, dowsers from the Can you stop, buddy? I'm trying to read. Stop. A team of expert dowsers from the association concluded the area surrounding the now historic Wilts coal mine to be highly active. They also expressed their hopes for further research and exploration of the gorge. Ooh, gorge. These hopes, however, were never fulfilled due to the location being restricted as a historic nature preserve, as declared by the Silent Hill Historical Society. Additionally, the idea was met with resistance from the local community, which claimed that the nature of the association's research would hinder tourist activity in the area. Questioning the credibility of our research and hiding behind day trippers seems like an excuse to prevent us from seeing what's really out there, commented one of the researchers. Unfortunately, none of the local representatives were available to comment on the matter. Editor's note: at the time of publishing, there exists no evidence supporting credibility of radiesthesia? Radiesthesia, maybe? Or proving effectiveness of any dowsing methods. Opinions expressed in the article do not reflect the author's views. Interesting. Let's be real, Ellie in The Last of Us 2 is very gaunt, not emaciated. God, I can't even speak, but super lean. Yeah. Yep. Agreed. Agreed. Am I going to get rear-ended by something when I turn around? No. Okay. We're good? Oh, I've already checked that. I teleported. Okay. The noises, man. Oh! Oh no, I saw you. Oh, you're in. Bap. 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 No. Stop. I don't have, okay, what was it? C? Q. Nope. F. H. G. B. Z. X. T. Y. M. Nope. Okay, actually, I don't want to do syringe just yet. Actually, there might be something. Okay. Super strong, super clean. Wash away the stains of yesterday. How did they... Deluxe. Oh no, we got Dulux. Never mind. I was like, how did they get this brand in this game? But okay, never mind. The Switch 2 screen compared to the Switch is insane. Yeah, it is. Zuna, we've got the Switch 1 and Switch 2 kind of next to each other in the TV stand. And the size and just the difference is nuts. Okay, so Pointless. Pointless? Oh. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to. Okay. Oh, there's a door there. But I can't get there? Is this not the way to go? I guess I keep on going this way. I have 2 regular Switch, the Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee one, and the Animal Crossing one. Now I have a Switch 2, also, but holy fuck the size difference and how sleek it looks. Yeah. I'm kind of surprised that there's not, that they didn't do OLED for Switch 2. Where the screen would be a little bit bigger as well. For OLED, and it would look... No. How dare you? Oof. Oh, is that a door? Is that a door? Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna back out of that for a second. Maybe I should go in there. Yeah, I couldn't use Switch 1. It gave me a headache and was uncomfortable. Switch 2 is perfect for me and screen size. Yeah, for me, I'd never really played Switch 1. My first handheld like that was the Steam Deck. And that's actually smaller than the smaller than the the Switch 2. But it's bigger than the Switch 1. But the control, like the joysticks and the buttons are smaller on the Switch 2. They're too small for my liking. So I prefer the Steam Deck, but that's alright. I didn't get it. That man was here again. I told him he'd be warned not to come here. He acted like he didn't know what I was talking about. Anyway, he got up and left. He didn't make any sort of fuss, but there's something about him that gives me the creeps. When I look at his face, it's like I'm staring at a mask. There's something underneath waiting to get out. I don't want to be there when that happens. Okay. Yeah, I'd love a Steam Deck, but have so many Steam games. Yeah, the good thing is a lot of games on Steam now are supported, and the developers want to support want their games to be supported on the Steam Deck as well. Hey Gub, how you doing? Danger Dan 86 is playing No Man's Sky. Has Dan changed his name to It's Danger Dan now on Steam, or is it still Danger Dan 86? You can smash windows for passages and additional equipment. Oh? Oh. Why would I do I want to do that? Do I want to do that? He has. Oh, he has now. Okay. We need to update our copy. We do. We changed it. Also, I've been lurking. No, that's okay. Lurk away, Gub. Lurk away. I'm glad. Yeah, I've got to change a lot of my stuff because Dan decided to change his name. We're silent. We're doing it. Inconsiderate, really. honestly. There's two of them. Dodge! Ah, oh, you son of a bitch. No, he turned. He turned when he did it. Pills here. Oh, he's crawling. No, no, no. Oh, he's gonna spit. He's spitting. He's turning. Ooh. No, he's gonna... Nah, man. I had nowhere to go. Okay. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're Gucci. We are Gucci. I may or may not have used you as a unit of measurement. It's true. No, I can't remember, actually. Okay, can't go through there. In here? Long way. Oh, okay, I'll just pick it up. What's this? Glue. I gotta glue a record together. Whilst I'm in pain. Okay. Is there a syringe in here? Surely. No? Okay. It's not in here, is it? No, that would be too easy. I don't have anything. Okay. That's okay. That's okay. I can use the controller as a mouse. You can. You can. I think there's... I haven't looked at it, but I know that the $10 playground game that you can get that didn't come free with it, I believe you can play around with it there as well. I don't know what game supports it just yet. Oh, you get a tick for when it's complete. So what was in that Texan cafe then? Oh, I need to go to Neely's bar, which is the other way. Okay. But I'm hurt. I've got the pain. I'm not trying to narrate my life. I'm just discovering things in real time. Excited. No, no, no. It's fine. That is fine. I'm in pain, game. There's so many of them. Okay. I go the other way. No, 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 I'm not here. Are they, okay. I can't tell if they're sound-based or if they're just kind of like radial-based. Like if you get too close. Too sure. Anyway, he just goes backwards and forwards. I can't go in there because there's a bar across the door. I think I need to cross the street, actually. Because Neely's bar... Oh, wait a second. I'm gonna go by the dirtiest numbers. Or... You go by the cleanest numbers? 7, 1, 2, 9? Or 6? Oh, okay. Alright, that's fine. We'll find out, I guess, if we need to go in there at some point. Where is... Okay, so he's under that car there. Okay, a bit further down, actually. Hey, hey, hey. Holy shit. Is he just going to go around in circles? Might go try and fuck him up. Okay, let's cross the street here. Giga computer. Police. So I think Neely's bar is this one here that I need. I believe... Oh. A little bit laggy. Can I do front door? Yep. Okay, what do we got here? I don't know what got into him. He just started smashing the thing. Had to throw him out. He ran off, cried he'd fix everything. I gathered up what I could. Still haven't found one of the buttons. Half the record is still lodged inside and the other part is missing. Figure he must have taken it. Come to think of it, he did run towards Groovy. Ooh, it's good that we went over that way then. Anyway, maybe go check up on him, see if he's alright. He lives over at Saul by the pharmacy, apartment 9. Cue to flip. Okay. Alright, did he mark it somewhere? Yes, a keypad. Okay, and then we've got small Saul Street apartments down the bottom. Okay. Yeah. Oof. Blinding. Blinding red. Is there any? No? Okay. I do want health. Because I don't like this red. Red. I don't have... What key is that? Like a... Hmm. I wanted to say butterfly, but it wasn't butterfly at all. It's good that I picked that up, actually. I can glue it together. I actually was meant to be buying my Switch 2 on the weekend, but then I had to see the dentist in Mount Cravat and decided to get a JB deal online for Click and Collect as a reward for seeing the dentist. Oh, perfect. You always got to treat yourself. Okay. Can I... Okay. Thank you. Combine that with you. Okay. The long way home. And then... surely... Is it that one? That? I can only move two. Oh, there we go. No. Okay. Okay, there we go. That one. I need to find a button, I think. And do I need to put a coin in as well? I do. All of this. Why did he look like that? Okay. So there's a couple places I need to go. One of them is basically down the street to the right. Oh, old mate Slytherin over there. I got him. So I need to go over this way. Hopefully thingy doesn't... No, cool. We're good. We're groovy. Right across the street here. Hey, there's some grey on your screen. Thank you, Sada. Do I jump? Do I jump? It's white. It told me to jump on white things. No? Okay. Here? Here we go. Okay. Dead. Okay. That one was one of the things I didn't like aesthetically in this remake. A lot of grey and a lot of brown. I just know it's consistent with the original. It's just, yeah. Do I keep? I don't keep. Okay. So I just got to know. So I'm there. That's the key room. I don't know what floor I need. Do I know what floor I need to go to? I don't think we know what floor. Is it? No. 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 No, none of those ones. Oh, apartment 9. We do know. So I need to go up 2 floors. Oh, okay. Yep. Very cool. Wait. That might be 4. Okay, I don't actually want to get you. 8, 7, 6. Is it over this way? Four. So really this should be, yeah, 5. So with, oh, it's 9. 9's, yeah, okay. That one looked like it went to the roof. So do I need to go to one of these rooms? And then I go outside, right? No, just do that. Okay, is there any pills? I would like a pill. Some pills, any pills. I'm certain now it's coming from that apartment. I keep telling them, why won't they do something? It's unbearable. I keep feeling it seeping into my skin, pushing itself into my lungs. I assume that's smoking? That makes sense. Right? Okay, I don't want that anymore. Oh. Can I climb out of here? Can I... No? Okay. What the? No. Unless I go into 4 and then come out... If I can't get into... Because I'm thinking I gotta jump out that window there and then I use the outside to get up. That makes sense. Ah, the key room. Okay. So... I can't get in there. Of course. Of course. Pills? No. I think this game has only given me 1 pill. No, 2 pills, because I remember I grabbed a pill at some point. I know the key was on the wall. I just wanted to check everything. Apartment 5 left his key. Says there's a leak from upstairs. Got to check it out. Well, you didn't. I don't think you did. Oh, why is my nose itchy? Ah, son of a bitch. Ah. All right. 5. Gotcha. Cool. Thank you. Onwards. Okay. We go. Is there a leak? A leak? Any pills? Any pills? Please. I don't like this. The red. I really don't. Alright. Okay. Oh. Oh. Game. Hello? Game didn't like whatever that was. Go down to balance, maybe? That's worse. Hello? That ringer is loading into the next area, I think. It wouldn't be this bad, though. This is like, shader stutter. Oh, no, I just put it back up. I don't, like, loading isn't that bad. Usually it stutters unless it's loading a large area. Maybe it's that. If it loaded, it shouldn't be doing this unless the unload is at the door or when you go back. It shouldn't be like this. This is like... Actually, what if I do that? Is it just as bad? I've seen a couple of experiences. Okay, I'm good. So it's just there. And maybe it's because it's on both the... Like, you're in an area where you're loading both the in and outside. Whereas when you're in this, see, I don't even know. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe there's just too much when you've got both areas, which would obviously make sense. But okay. Whatever. Cool. What do we got here? Redacted, 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 and then she came and washed it all away. It started to make sense again. Redacted, redacted. It's this place. I can't fight it. Got to get my head straight. Quick stop at Texan, then we're going. I need pills. That's what I need. You'd think inclusion culling would render it a non-issue. Yeah, so I have a feeling that it does it, if it is loading the area, it is, when you walk through, you're triggering the box, but then maybe because I walked backwards, the box for unloading is there maybe? Or that room kind of just renders both things. See, I don't even know. Like, because I'm here, right? I can't see anything. And it was the same when I was in that room as well. It's pure white. So I don't actually know what it would be. I just had a gasp. Oh, this gives me fucking Silent Hill The Room vibes. Hello? Hello, Scotchy. Hello, Raiders. How we doing? Fuck. Okay, hang on. Let's just do this because. Oh boy, I love it. Oh my god, I don't know what's happening here. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Scotchy, how is Oh man, Mouse PI. Or did you stop that? No, you were playing that. Did you stop it? No, you were doing Minecraft. How was Minecraft? How was it? Hey, Nikki, welcome in. Hello, Sass. How you going? Mandy, hello. Heartless, welcome in. Sass again. Gubs, hello. Taters, how you doing? Socks off, hello. Hey. Sass again. I'm a Scotch millionaire. Did someone get millionaire Scotch? Or is Sass giving a little troll? Classic. Hey, Mitch, welcome in. Fishy, hello. Hey, Purple, Kara, Gal, hey, welcome in. Scots, thank you for gifting to Forbidden Glory Hole. Wait a second. That makes sense now. God damn it. Hello. Thank you for that. Sass's walk on. It gets me every time. I've missed a couple things. Hello. Harless, thank you for following. Gal, thank you very much. Mimi and Mitch, thank you for following, guys. Really appreciate it. Welcome in. Hello, Princess. I love it. That's Scotch's walk on as well. I forgot about Sass's walk on every fucking time. Mandy, so do I. And it gets me every time too. Hey Candace, how you doing? Welcome in. I played a little. It's okay. Just not for stream, I think. That's fair. Yeah, because you were saying that it's hard to focus because it's a shooter, right? Hard to focus on chat and play at the same time. Yeah, I get you. Minecraft was chill, but just a lots of yapping. Perfect. Yeah. Minecraft is always chill. Is that a Marty in a Grim shirt? Yes, it is. Oh shit, I almost ran you over. It's a little Grimbo shirt. I did it. Wait. Did you really? Sass. Oh my god, you did it? We saw a Marty Millionaire vid. Oh, that's so good. Millionaire vid was awesome. Thanks, Nikki. Type fast, welcome in. How you doing? Taters, Sharp, come on. Welcome in, Sharp. How you doing? Oh, and lots of talking in game. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Hope you're feeling okay, Scotch, by the way. I love Marty Brainrot. I'm glad that it worked out. I'm not glad I wasn't there to see it. I was like, when Scotch was like, oh yeah, it probably won't happen today. I was like, that's fine. That's fine. That's okay. Hey, welcome in, guys. Scotch, if you need to raid and run. Sass, if you need to get out of here as well, you've had a big day as well. You've both had big days. And if there's anyone else here that's had a big day, feel free to lurk, raid and run, get out. It is a chip. Hello, come on. Come over. Don't look at me like that. It looks like I'm just crazy now. You're right here. You're looking at me. Come on. No? Everyone wants to see you. Everyone wants to see you. Don't be a little bitch. Come over here. All right. I'm picking you up. Come on. You know? No. Hello. He didn't. You were doing everything in your power to not be picked up. It's a little chippy boy. There's a little chip. He's very pretty. Very pretty boy, aren't you? What's happening? Okay, you're done. Do you like being this high? I don't know what's happening. Okay. There you go. Be cute. You wanted this, by the way. He did attack me earlier, actually. I picked him up and I was kissing him and he didn't want me to kiss him. Anyway, I missed out on some stuff. Worked perfectly. That is great. I'm glad to hear, Mandy. It was clipped. Perfect. I will be checking out that clip. Got some food coming. I'll be here. No, Scotch, that's fine. If if you guys need to treat yourself to some self-care, do that. It's been a big day. And Sass, I hope you feel better as well. You're a little bit sick. I was rough, but this made my day getting millionaire. It's insane. Everyone helped me. Oh, what do you mean everyone helped you? Gambas? Gambas? No gambas. We did some gambas, actually. We did a little bit of gambas to loosen up. And I was like, yeah, we need to just do it a little bit, loosen up. And it is really unnerving to not have music. So let's do that. Let's do that for a second. Oh my God, mustache has been really itchy. Not even that. It's made my nose itchy today. Yeah, we did a little bit of gambas. Beforehand. I was like, let's do it, loosen up a little bit before we play Silent Hill 2. And Silent Hill didn't help at all. Silent Hill 2 is first time I've played it, by the way. First time. And I'm immediately being like, holy shit, how is Return to Silent Hill? How did it fuck up so bad? First time I'm playing this game, by the way. First time. I haven't played the original, haven't played this. I just knew some stuff about the game. So the movie just made me mad, by the way. Movie made me mad. And then I'm playing this now. I'm like, holy shit, I'm even more mad that they've just destroyed so much of it in the first 20 minutes. Stupid. Just nuts. Yeah, but cheating gamblers. What? Who's cheating gamblers? Not a rigged gambler. A Dono gambler? Dino gambler. I don't know. Got to get kid to bed. Catch you next time. Nikki, go for it. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for coming with the raid. Really appreciate you just jumping in and say hey. But yeah, get out of here. Go. Oh man, Silent Hill 2 is terrifying. Yeah, I haven't played it. This is my first time. So I'm just about to put my hand in what Scott's called as what did you do? Forbidden Glory hole. So that's going to be a 6-7. God damn it, Scott's. Yes, Marty has arse worms. Pass it on. I think I've got it. Anyone can just time out, exclamation mark timeout. It's Danger Dan, by the way. Feel free to just go for it. At Sassafay, I've applied your new cosmetic in Discord. Fuck yeah, let's go, Sass. Let's go. Yep, there we go. Go for it. Thank you. I was actually talking about earlier that I needed to put a cooldown on the fart. So, look, you got another. By the time I can do that, you can just fart away. You're making it really hard to want to put a cooldown on it. All right, there you go. You've had your fun. You've had your fun. Oh, damn it, Marty. Damn it, Marty. The fart isn't in your VOD. Oh, isn't it? That won't be in the VOD either. Thanks, Grim. Oh no, there's not a cooldown on that. God damn it. I didn't think I'd need to cool down on shit. There we go. There is a cooldown now. Suckers. All right, we're going to jump back in the game. But no, Raiders, if you need to... God, Fish, you son of a bitch. Piece of shit. Thanks, Fish, by the way. Now, when the first fart landed before, you were grimacing at the time, and it generally looked like you dumped your guts. Scots. Maybe I did, and you will never know. Marty, nothing you say could make me hate you. Okay, let's test that, Fish. Let's test that. Mandy. Mandy, what the fuck was that? Fish. Okay, let's test that. Okay, Fish. Trains aren't cool. There we go. And now we'll just see. We will just see. They're not. God damn it. Fish. What? Mandy. What's Fish's favorite movie? I don't know, Fish. Pass it on. Yeah, no, Fish. The reels that you send me, I laugh react to them, but they're not funny. Surely that hurt just a little bit. Surely. You still go to the effort of laugh reacting, nerd. Just as a note, they are funny. I'm just trying to hurt Fishy right now. Thank you, Lily. I'm just trying. I'm just trying to. All of this is just to hurt Fishy. Because he said nothing I could say could hurt him. God damn it. Fish probably doesn't even know what his favorite movie is. Fish, what's your favorite movie? In reality, Marty's actually laughing at the fact that you find them funny. Most of it. Honestly, a lot of the stuff Fishy does send is funny. Thank you, Sass. God damn it. These are all self-recorded farts, by the way. They're not. But could you imagine? Honestly, probably the Sandlot kids. I haven't seen The Sandlot, kids, and I assume it's not a good film. Take that one, fish. Do you want me to submit some farts for you? Nope. That was perfect, Sith. Thank you. But no, thank you. Thank you, Lily. I appreciate that. That was like the perfect time. The perfect time. All right, we're going to jump back in. What's happening? What do you want to do? You're so weird. So weird. We're just going to pause that. And then I'm handing a hole. Oh, I meant to go deep. Oh, it's the button. Oh, I need that. Oh, it's bloody though. Who be bloodying their button hole? We're just gonna try and get into it, I guess. Imagine if your fart redeem was just community toots. Ooh. That's pretty cool. However, don't send farts to me, please. Don't do it. And if you do, I'm banning you. I lost all my channel points on Marbles Gamba. Yeah, you did. You did. And because you bet on losers, Jet. You bet on losers. Who up period in the head? Yeah, I haven't got to that bit. I don't... Fish, is that a spoiler? I don't know who Pyramid Head is. I don't know what you're talking about. Ooh. Ooh. Who up juking their box right now? That's what I'm after. I'm after, he's the guy from Return to Silent Hill. Scotch, you son of a bitch. You... I was actually like so mad with that film. Even never have played this before and just going off of things that I knew and just the general knowledge of Silent Hill. I was... Kiss me. I was just so mad. And I said to Zuna, I was like, I'm mad. And she said, you could have just stopped watching at any point. I was like, yeah, but I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see how bad it was. And I could have just stopped watching at any point, apparently. So... who up radioing their head right now? Oi! Oh. Quick fish, clear chat. No, he can't. Ha 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 ha. He can't do it. What's happening here? There we go. Oh, no, he's attacking. Well, honestly, you should have played this at some point in the last 30 years. Maybe. Maybe, but I didn't. Okay, I need to take the button back, but I need to find a coin. Maybe in Happy Burger. Maybe in Happy Burger. Maybe there's a coin there. Imagine not playing Silent Hill 2 in the womb. Yeah, crazy. Although, I would have been out of the womb. But yeah, I've never had the interest in playing it. I didn't have a PS2. I think it only came out on PS2 at a time, right? Am I going the fucking right way? No, I'm not. Oh, he's turned around. Ooh. Silent Hill 2006, Silent Hill 2006, Silent Hill was a 4 out of 10 film. You should watch that instead. 100%. If you're going to watch Return to Silent Hill, don't, and just watch Silent Hill 2006 Silent Hill instead. Wise words. You seem hurt, get some health. I'm getting there, Sass. I'm trying. I have been trying for the past hour to get health. But there's no health anywhere. So I'm getting there. They really nailed the likeness of James in this game from the movie. Is the fake beard a collectible later? I hope so. And the bad acting as well. I hope that's a DLC. Feel the craving. You just can't help it. Go for it. Happy Burger, what you need is what you get. On the run, grab something to go. Pills? Is there... Oi! Son of a bitch. Can you not? Oh, he's gonna squirt on me. Go away. I'm really hurt. I'm hurting. I'm hurting. Oh no. Nanite Sharples. Everyone say Nanite to Sharp. He's going to Snooze Town. Oh, he's trying to fucking stop. Yeah. He's down. Okay. I get too excited and forget to pass what I have typed. No, it's okay, Fishy. It's okay. Promise. Okay, it is past... it is bedtime, and I'm also scared, so head it off. Bye. Have a beautiful time, everyone. No, Sharpie. No. Get some good sleepies. Is there health, though? Is there health? That is all I want. I just want the health. Nothing. Cool. Oh my god, for... Sass, you okay? You okay, Sass? I was having a great day and then found out Labour fucked the NDIS. That's the government, the Australian government. You said hurting for a... Oh. Oh, did I? Hurting for a while? Hurting for a bit? Oh, actually. Jab. Hurting goes away. I'm no longer hurting. I'm a healthy lad. Healthy boy. Looking for... Looking for a coin. I'm looking for a coin for a jukebox that I've fixed. What's this? Pills. I could have had pills. Chip, why are you being a butt, my dude? Is that all you wanted, to just come up here and lick yourself? You freak. Can you stop biting me as well? Can you... Ow. Stop biting. I've got a half and half mix of white vinegar and water that I use when he starts getting too bitey when I'm on the computer. And it's meant to, if he bites, or if a cat bites, they're meant to kind of bite it and then be like, oh, it's too much. And it's meant to be too bitter. Anyway, he's currently licking it. It's safe for cats, by the way. He shouldn't be enjoying it, but he is. Stop it, you're such a What are you doing? You're going ham. You're trying to clean me. You don't need to. I put it there as a deterrent for you, but you're just licking away. He's such a freak. Such a freak. Chip has the devil in him, and that's why he's the best. Have you seen him? He's fancy. At least give him balsamic. Balsamic vinegar? Is this saying that oh, maybe it's in the restaurant down the road? Maybe. I don't know where a coin might be. I'm meant to go all across town and looking for a coin? I guess. Oh. You put it as a deterrent, but he now sees you as dirty and needing to be cleaned. Yeah, so it's not what I wanted, but it does mean that he stopped biting me, which is good. Where's my selector? There it is. Put the 2 there. I select. Where's the thing gone? There was a thing. The thing that picks out the record. Where did you go? Marty, you're a Smith's Salt and Vinegar chip now. Thank you. Yes. Yes, I am. Where did it go? I can't get in there. So I'm meant to find a coin, but now I'm meant to find... There was a hole here. It's gone now. Okay. Okay. That's put me in a bit of spot of bother. All this talk of balsamic and salt. Emma needs some cheese and olives. Ooh, fancy taters. Sort of. Okay. So that's the key. So it's coming from the apartment upstairs. Feel like it's seeping into my skin. So not that one. So I went to Gru. Oh, fuck. If it wants me to go back to... No, surely it can't. He lives over at Saul by the pharmacy, apartment 9. Okay, I went there. What's this one? The janitor came in the other day, drunk in tears. Can't do much about the record. Maybe is... Okay, not that one. You should have heard how disappointed Mandy was in me just then for missing the chip pun. Fish, it's okay. It's late. It's late. It's okay. Just remember, Fish, that we love you and nothing you could say would change that. And it's okay, Fishy. It is okay. So I got maps. So this is the one that I'm in. So the keypad, which is okay. No, I didn't mean to do that. Half-Life 3 isn't ever being released. That's your opinion, Fishy. And yeah, if you want to keep by that, you are more than welcome to. But I'm just letting you know, you know, one day. How's your brownie ice cream bowl? Good? Okay. Okay, I just got nodded at. I heard it's coming out the same month as Skyrim 2. The pause, I am just joking, Marty. I know you believe. Thank you, Fishy. Brownie ice cream bowl. Yeah. So, Zuna jumped off after marbles and was ching-changing in the kitchen. And I was like, what's all that noise? What's all that hollering? And she made herself a brownie ice cream bowl with M&Ms and marshmallows. That's for dinner, by the way. But it's okay, because she enjoyed it. I prefer to be called Scotchy. Fuck. Oh, you forgot to make Zuna dinner again. No, I didn't forget. We were going to have oven pizza. But we just haven't done that today. So I will maybe do it after. I want to have dinner with Zuna. That sounds amazing. So we went to... You know how Zuna was making a huge deal about me... Oh, there's a hole. No, not a hole. Me forgetting to do dinner. And me going out with the boys to have some drinkies on Friday. Well. Had a couple of drinkies on Friday. Messaged Zuna. And we had dinner. We went out to dinner. And we grabbed ourselves... Is that two of them? We grabbed some katsu chicken. And it was delicious. And it was amazing. Was amazing. Yeah. There's a place just around the corner from us, and it is beautiful as a body. There's a body. Hey, hello. Don't. Dead. Dead. Yeah, just... I don't actually know if those ones hurt or if they kind of... Cheap? Okay. Okay. Everything all good? Okay. Love you. Checked from 000 to... Oh. This is the code for the thing. Is it 4014? Wait, there's another side. Checked from 4014 to 4439. Had to run again. I feel like I'm so close. I just know it. Is it 4440? Or is it 44444? 444. What are you? We will see you sooner or later. You will see. Oh, that looks cool. That looks cool. 4444. 4. Yep. I have a feeling that it's going to be at the other spectrum. But that's the only kind of hint we've got for the keypad. So I'm thinking it might be 4 4 4 0. And if it's not, then it will be 4 4 4 1. And then I guess if it's not that, there's a good chance it might be 4 4 4 2. And then if on the off chance it's not that one, it could be 9000. Because I didn't try that one. Okay, I killed that one. That's all good. I don't get dinner. Zuna, grow up. Okay. Where's my... God, this is so faint. Okay, 4, 4, 4, 0. Knew it. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Got it in. First try. Look at that. No, no. The fuck did you say to Zuna? Oh, there's no winning in this place. Hashtag thriving. Hello, Griffy, you cutie. I really want a brownie. I forgot earlier. Hi, Mandy. Exactly, so what's your words? 0 winning. Coin? Handgun ammo. But I don't have a handgun. Why is it giving me all this handgun ammo? I don't have a handgun. Perfect, I'm here. I want a brown E. Hello, Jackalope. Welcome in. How you doing? My best man made us a whole pan of brownies recently. We polished it over 2 nights. Oh. Oh. I know when Zuna has made brownies or just made anything, I've been the one to just demolish it because it's always so good. Oh, wait, the puzzle, what puzzle are you on? I'm currently on the jukebox puzzle. But just to, as a notice, this is my first playthrough, so please no spoilies. Unless I ask, obviously. Unless I ask, but this is my first playthrough and I got no idea what I'm doing, so we're figuring it out. Is that everything here? Is that a big old fat ticky? No. Oh, maybe. Actually sounds incredible. Yeah. It does sound incredible. Taters? I hate brownies. You know what, Sass? I'm sure... Wait a sec. No, I don't want to say the other way, because... Yep. Quarter cup of sugar. Okay, that's just the thing. And if he does ask, mock him for needing help and provide none. Perfect. Thank you, Scots. I like Scotchy. Yeah, go on. I'm sorry. Did you not bail on talking in your native... No. In your Indian accent, Sass? I'm sorry. You can't bait me into doing something that you also scooched out of, by the way. I would never. Well... Oh, fuck, where's that? Did I get it? Yeah, I did. I want to have a best man and worst man at my wedding, and want Looney Tunes ass shenanigans happening in the background of the wedding between the 2 of them that I never see. Also, a maid of dishonor. That sounds perfect, Jackalope. Pure chaos. Why couldn't I open my map there? So I don't actually know what I'm doing this side. Because I need to get... do I need to do the jukebox? I'm looking for a coin. Oh, well... I'm looking for something. I need to sleep. Adore your friends. Good night all. Night sass. Everyone say night sass. Night sass effects. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Okay, so there was an apartment over this way, actually. That I skadoodled from. This one, right? Wait, did I skadoodle from you? No, I did this one. I did that one. Hey, aren't you that Marty guy? I am, Max. Hey, welcome in. How you doing? Hope you're doing well, friendo. Did I do the Texan Cafe? Let's have a look. It's still got the circle on it, but it's not ticked. Oh, it's massive. Okay, no, I did. I was in there. I did those. I did all that. I did that one. I didn't go in here. Is there anything? It's a bit light. I saw him again, or... Fuck. Oh, I'm so glad I changed that. Hey, welcome in, Raiders. How we doing? Serby, how you going? What were you playing? Were you doing some more Faz? Bloodborne. Ooh, I've never played Bloodborne? Bloodborne. No, welcome in. Welcome in. Sharkdo, welcome in. And Serby, how you going? Was it a good Bloodborne stream? Is Bloodborne's the hard, that's the difficult one, right? And that only came out on PlayStation 3? Was it? Anyway, I've never played it. I've heard great things, though. Great things. It's very Dark Souls, right? We are doing a no health run. Ooh, difficult. PS4, close enough, yeah. They're the same thing, right? PS3, PS4, yeah. Welcome in. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. But yes, no, if you need to raid and run, self-care, completely get it. But yeah, thank you for popping in. I appreciate it. We're just playing some Silent Hill 2 for the first time. Never played it ever in my life. And what are you doing? Come here. You didn't want to. Yeah, so playing for it for the first time in my life. We watched Return to Silent Hill, and it was a trash film on the weekend, so that kind of made me want to play this. So here we are. But we're just going to jive? We're going to jive and dive straight back into it. If my buttons let me button. There we go. But no, welcome in. Welcome in. I'm worried for my feedies at the moment. Chip is on the attack. And I'm worried for my kanks. Jive away. I will. Okay, so at the moment I think I'm looking for a coin of sorts. And the rest of this jukebox, because it was there and then it was taken away. Wait a second. Was this open before? I don't remember. I'm playing a fun game of Find the Print String. Ooh. Control F? Or search all blueprints. That helps. Unless you're doing C++. It's a coin! Fuck. Fucking. Oh. That was really well timed. I liked that. Liked and hated it. Okay, so I've got the coin. Yeah. But when I went back to put the button, 2 button on the jukebox, the rest of the jukebox was gone. So where... Do I just go back to the thing I put the coin in? Maybe, let's try that. What's happening, Chip? Chip, come on. What are you doing? You're being feisty. I've got to put him in the bedroom with Zuno. Thank you, Grim. Yep. We got some bunny kicks. Don't go for the veins, thank you. You okay? Hmm? You good? You just feisty. Hmm? Okay. All right. Okay. I'll be back. All right. I'm back. Finally back up to 300 points. And you're back down to 0 now. Oh, got me a couple times actually in the head. We got to cut his claws. Ouch. Ouchie. Okay, next one. Aha, found it. Perfect. I hate it when you're trying to find a specific... Not in there. Okay. Not that one. When you're trying to find a specific node or blueprint that you've kind of used everywhere. Node or print string that you've kind of used everywhere. And just finding it is... hell. Ooh. A bit laggy. Stop. Okay. So I go C2. Oh. Where'd the thing go?
Park on the lake. Spent the whole day there. Just the two of us staring at the water.
Oh, that's the bit. It's the key. That's the key. Again, I'll say this again. I can't mention how much I love this game. Yeah, I have heard like everyone seems to just love Silent Hill 2. And I bought this on a sale or when it first came out last year, and I was like, oh, I'll play it on stream. And then I just never got around to it. And then, yeah, watching the shitfest of Return to Silent Hill, I was like, I think this week's the week. And yeah, so far, much better than Return to Silent Hill. And it's, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I wish I could find more places for health. But it's, yeah, I'm so far like the atmosphere, the environments, the music as well. Health. Ah. Oh, I've got so much health now. I didn't before. Okay, what do we got here? Nope, didn't mean to. There we go. He came back after you left. It's fine. He didn't try anything. He just seemed sad. Mumbled something about getting out of town with someone. I wasn't going to let him drive in his condition, so I locked him out. His car should be out back. Maybe check if it's still there by morning. It's the greenish blue one, plate number ending with 06, I think. I think it's a bit of Chip's hair that's just floating around. But it's always like landing on my nose or under it or something. Okay. Greenish blue car with the number plate 0 ending in 06. Okay. And nothing over here. It's funny to think I used to avoid horror games like the plague till I gave them a chance, and now they are one of the best things ever. I think there is a little laggy. A little laggy. Like there's so much great horror games, and even the bad ones as well, and the average ones. There's a lot there, and people put a lot of time, and they're like, I find a lot of horror games as well touch on emotional points. So for example, and this is very like AAA, right? This one, you're kind of delving into a lot. There's a lot of themes in Silent Hill 2, judging from the content warning that you get at the start. But then there's Dead Space, where that touches on dementia and, your loved one's Res Evil doesn't really, but body horror, yeah. Like there's just so much of the emotions, but also horror just kind of like pulls you down, right? Even bad horror games, the scuffed ones, greenish blue. We're looking for greenish blue. Even the bad ones, they kind of find a way, because you'll have your guard down, or you won't expect something, and then you yourself will feel everything, right? Oh, look at this. Back in, look at this joker. Hey, Fanko, how you doing? Welcome in. 20. Not this one. Not that one at all. That's not the car. What's doing, Big Rig? Playing Silent Hill 2 for the very first time. So far, so good, I believe. Might have taken me a little bit longer to get to where I am. That's a car. That's a greenish blue car. 26, though. But there is health in it. Ooh. Well, I will say, even though I didn't enjoy Resident Evil 7 or 8, I did kind of enjoy the story a bit. See, I mean, I didn't really play the older Resident Evil games, so I never played the original 1, 2, 3, 4. Play a little bit of 5 and 6. 6 is 6. Never played it though. But I really enjoyed it, and I think it's just because I'm a big fan of first-person horror games. I really enjoyed 7. really enjoyed 8. 8 was a little bit more action. I mean, the second half of a lot of horror games are generally kind of action as well. They lose that horror aspect because you're kind of used to it. So I'm kind of curious how this goes. 06. Oh, this looks like a fucking boss fight area. Right? If it's locked the door behind me. Oh no, okay. Well, we're good. But I'm sure it'll lock it. Yeah, I really enjoy them just because I'm a sucker for first person. But I also enjoy third person as well. Is it quiet up there? It is a little quiet. Maybe. How you doing? How you doing, Finko? Even though again was not my fave Resident Evil game. Requiem? I'm off to bed. Take care, amazing Marty in chat. Bye, Sith Devil. Thank you for popping in. Everyone say night-night, Sith. Or night-night, Devil. Sweet dreams, King. Pile of shit? Or pile of poop? Fuck off. That's right, I got plenty of health. Plenty of health. Okay, I might need to take some. Ooh. No. Fucking hell, dude. Requiem was good. Just was rehashing it. RE7 and 8. I can get at least appreciate for the story. Yeah, I think 7 I think was really good for horror. 8 had its moments. Wait, so what did I need? I'm not actually driving this, am I? No. I picked up a key. What was the key for, though? And why is it leading me down here? But Requiem was good as well, just because it was a mix. But again, the second half of that is kind of lost. So I'm just back out in the streeties now. But doing what? I picked up a key for what? Oh, I should just look at it. Woodside Apartments. Okay, straight ahead. Okay, straight ahead to the right. After the... Okay. Dodging you. Fast as fuck, boy. Fast as fuck, boy. Fast as fuck. We're good. Oh, there's 2, 3. Ooh. Oh, I triggered him. Nope. Bit further up. I might have to go on to the inside though. That's just fuck, boy. Bubba. Fuck. He'll be back. He'll be back. There he is. Gotcha. And then... Ah, you son of a bitch. Dead. Okay. Is it... Oh, here. Yep. Cool. I just got an achievement. Nice and cozy. Oh. Got a map. Fuck, this is huge. Oh, Rosewater Park. Okay, I think that's where I'm going, right? It's massive. Oh, this is massive. So 3 floors. Okay. Alright. I can't jump over this, can I? No. Because why would I? Why would I be able to? Yeah, 3 floors. Okay. Okie dokie. I can't go out that, can I? Nope. A flashlight would be really good, by the way. I didn't mean to flip it. Okay. Dear Madame, in response to your complaint regarding the gunshots coming from apartment 217, we have paid a visit to the tenant and he assured us that he does not own any firearms. He was fully cooperative and granted us access to the apartment. True to his words, we did not find any weapons or traces of using one. Should the noises persist, please inform the janitor. Sincerely, Woodside Apartments Administrator. Okay, so I need to go to 217. Oh, did he mark it? Is that what he did? Next one. Oh, he did. Fuck. Okay, I like that. I do like that. Okay, let's...
Hello?
Oh, don't.
Is anyone there?
Don't say that. Okay. 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 Of course. Okay, I'm assuming I'm meant to go into... I don't like those sounds. I truly do not like those sounds. Well. Hello, mannequins. Hello, mannequins. There we go. Bit of health drink. Is this where it's going to give me a flashlight as well? You best believe it. Oh, you fucking hell, dude. Surely that's just cheating. Fucking. Don't moan when I hit you. Why would I need to toggle it?
These clothes.
What's wrong with the clothes? Shoot. Shoot key, courtyard key. Okay. So... Okay, I don't actually know what that's for, I guess. Because I haven't seen it. Why would I need to turn the flashlight on and off? Because it doesn't look like it uses battery. Oh, I thought I saw like a dark mist falling. That's okay. Of course. So do I need to go back downstairs now? Shoot. Courtyard key. What would that be for? Shoot. Unless it's the shoot in the courtyard, but... That's a... I can see what looks to be a pram. Don't like the looks of that, to be honest. Okay, nope. Oh, I can go up as well. I mean, I didn't check everything down. That's up. I didn't check everything down, did I? I know that was locked down here. I believe that was locked. I couldn't go any further. I didn't check those two, though. And that looks like a stairway down? Yeah, no, okay. So that'll take us to the basement of some sorts. Don't like the look of that. Could we not? So I don't have a fourth map. I don't have a fourth map, so there must be the roof, maybe? Okay, no handle. Okay. Cool. Don't know what I'd be using handgun ammo for. I don't have a handgun. Although, I guess that is... Oh my god, fucking chip hair. I guess that is one thing that many games, especially horror games, don't really do, is give you the ammo before you have it, right? So, like, for example, in Dead Space, you don't get ammo for guns that you don't have yet. Oh, this door... I didn't even see if this door was open. Oh, my god. So Dead Space, you don't get the ammo before you get the gun. I don't think that is how it worked. I think that's how it worked in, Resident Evil 4. Just trying to think of other horror games. Fuck, what was it? The one that I didn't finish, and no one really did, because it wasn't that good. Kronos. I don't think you got ammo before as well. What this? Is it the chute? No, it's not. 3 bright coins in the 5 holes. Okay, I guess I'll read that in a second. Fuck me. Come on. Let me read it. Okay, 3 bright coins in the 5 holes be... First sits the maiden beneath the tree. The wind from behind the maiden doth blow, a beautiful flower alone has to grow. Oh, I didn't mean to press that one. And here comes the man, so sleek and so fine, in the pale moonlight, his eyes doth shine. So I don't have any of this, right? No. So I find them, I suppose. How exciting. Alright. Okay, let's do this one. Save again. I'm getting quite hungry. Actually, I don't think I'm gonna go for much longer. What is the time? 10. Ooh. Ooh. Okay. Might end it hither. However, we will make time for bed, time for food, Fanko. I haven't had dinner. Don't tell anyone though. Especially Sash, she'll fucking blast me. We might end it there. But no, we will... I think I want to come back to it Don't no, Fanko, no, please, no, don't. We might come back this weekend. What's the oh my god, everything's just happening. Yeah, just because Sass would never go without. No, 100%. No, I do need food though, and I'm hungry. It's hard because we've also got to pack because we're moving, so I might do maybe a Friday night stream. Yeah, 24th. Fanko, thank you. Didn't need to do that at all. I appreciate you. Thank you for using your Prime. It's doing big dog, big big dog, big hoag. Stop it. No, I think okay. Let's book it in for the Friday night. Let's do that. So I'll come back and do some more Silent Hill 2 and potentially shit my pants. How exciting. Very cool. But no, let's do that. That sounds perfect. Let's have a quick squiz. It wouldn't be shill without some pant shit. Won't it, Fanko? Won't it? Hmm. Who is on? Let's. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go. Let's go say hey to Bella. Let's go do that because we haven't. Bella's normally the one to raid into us, and this will be the first time I can actually raid into Bella. So that's exciting. Turn your volume down now. Okay. Volume. I've actually been lurking and it's at 1%. And there were moments where I could hear, I think in game that I thought was in game. And I was like, I can hear whispering. And I'm pretty sure it's just Bella talking at normal volume. So, thanks for coming, good sir. No, Grim, thank you. Thank you for hanging around. I appreciate it. And everyone that's been in chat and obviously lurkers as well. I appreciate all of yous, especially the 2 raids from Scotchy and Serby. Appreciated, and you guys are a blast. So obviously, if you're not following on either of them, go do that. Fear, thank you for Fear. Thank you for the follow. Thank you, I appreciate it. Taters, love it. Thank you. No, you, Grimmy. No, you. Thank you for streaming these battles. No worries, Griffin. Hopefully, you will. You can build up your points again to fight again. That'd be cool. Also, for those that don't own their own Grim shirt, it's cheap, too cheap. In fact, Grim should raise his prices. But if you don't own a Grim shirt, pick yours up at oh no, does someone have the link handy? I don't have the link handy. Oh, I didn't. No, Grim, don't fart. No, I wasn't planning on plugging Grim. No, this is gonna. Thank you, Scots. If you want a fancy shirt, minus the cat hair, go do that. I wasn't planning on plugging Grim. No one ever plans to plug Grim. It just happens. Can I get mine with extra cat hair? Fanko, you can. If you send yours to my address, I can actually make sure Chip sleeps on it. We can really get some of the cat hair woven into the fibers, and then we can send it off to you. I think my cat would be so angry. Yeah, but Fanko, you could double the cat hair then. You could also wove some of your cat hair into it and double the cat hair. His name is Scott. Kyle. Fucking hell. All right. I'm going to go grab some food. Thank you, everyone. We're going to... Dan, thank you for lurking. Hey, chat, did you know that Marty has no cooldown on his fight redeem? Hey, Dan, there is a cooldown now. There is a cooldown, but you wouldn't know that. Thank you, Grim. But no, if you are a subscriber, okay, thank you, Taters. If you are a subscriber, use the first message, second message, the animated one. If you are, I'm going to ban you, Dan. I'm going to ban Dan. If you're not subscribed, feel free to use the first one. I'm glad we know when Danny is lurking. Yeah, I should really make it so if Dan lurks, it just times him out for 900 minutes. Grim shirt covered in chip hair. Yep. Yep. Goddamn right, Dan. Goddamn right. All right. Whatever. Whatever. Can I even spell? Okay, there we go. What about chip shirt covered in Grim hair? Ooh. Grim, can you make that happen, Grim? This can be arranged. Perfect. All right. We need to see this on the store soon. Okay. Oh my God. Why did no one tell me that there was chip hair? A massive chunk of it on my shoulder. Why did no one tell me? I've been looking like a fool this entire time. What about a Marty shirt covered in Marty beard hair? Oh, look, Dan, I can make that happen if you want. Because Posse, Poozy even. Thanks, Fanko. All right. If you missed it, those are your messages. Use them, don't use them, whatever. But we're going to go see Bella. She's just chatting. She's doing some editing. She's doing some puzzles as well that you can join if you want. But she's a chill time. I say chill. Loud chill. And did I spell her name wrong? Right. Okay, cool. Yep. How embarrassing, boys and girls. Holy shit. There we go. How embarrassing. All right. But yeah, no, thank you everyone for just chilling, lurking, chatting, whatevering. I appreciate all of you. And yeah, we'll come back in 2 days. 2 days. Oh, and if you're not, feel free to join the Discord that I don't really plug, but we've got it there. It's a joint one between Zuna and I. From when Zuna was going to stream more and I wasn't really going to stream, and we were like, yeah, let's make a dual one. Anyway, so this is currently a unused but used Discord, so feel free to join it if you want, but I'll post up when I will a dual one. Yes, Fanko. Hell yeah, brother. But yeah, I will, I think, come back on Friday and do some more. Okay. All right. Thank you everyone for chilling, for joining, and yeah, we'll see you maybe on Friday. Okay. Good night.